Howdy, this is Teresa, and this is the Fearless and Soulful Sales Call. I'm really excited that you are with us either live or watching later. This call is designed to just have you have a breakthrough. Some of you might already love selling. Some of you might be like, then you might not be interested in watching this. But for most of us, there's always a place that we can go a little bit deeper. There's always a place that we can go, oh, like we can experience selling our services in a new way. All right, so we are here, we're on video. So I'm gonna ask if you are moving around, if you have distractions, just mute your video, right? Because to me, it's difficult to watch when people are walking down the hallway. I don't care if cats or dogs walk by, that is most welcome. But when people are wandering and we're seeing ceilings, or I just like, so if you're watching live, just mute your video if you're traveling about, right? So that's all I ask. Alrighty, so let us get started with this content. So let me find this. Okay, hold on, let me grab this right. View. Show. All right, Fearless and Soulful Sales. Here we go. So the journey today, just first of all, thanks for coming. I'm really glad you're here. I so appreciate, well, anybody that shows up when I teach, but I appreciate the community that comes together, supports each other. So I love this about you women. I want you to have an open mind. Selling is, again, there's this continuum of I hate selling, it completely sucks, oh good hell, it's icky, or I love it, I got no problem with it at all. And probably somewhere in the middle, right? So I want you to have an open mind. When you come to training calls, it's really nice to have the sense of, let me see what else I can learn. Let me see, even if you're really good at this, even if you have had tons of selling training and or do it comfortably, just intend that you will get a nugget out of this, right? And agreements, so here's what I like in terms of agreements. This is a community training, and so I want you to show up. I want you to be real, be vulnerable if you want to, ask questions, challenge me. Just so the agreements are, we honor each other. We honor the participants and we honor each other. We be real. We good with that? Say yes, Trace. Perfect. Nice. There's Joanne. Hi, love. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself this question, and I want to hear from you. I'll take the thing off too in a minute. When I hear the word sales, I feel. So just whomever's on the call, you can either type in the chat room or just message, just speak it. When I hear the word sales or selling, I feel. Want some answers? Yes. A sinking feeling. Yeah, a sinking feeling. Great. Okay. And again, this is a no judgment zone, right? So we're just, remember we always say, when you have awareness, you have choice, right? So, okay, you're aware. Somebody else said, what did somebody else say? Tara just said something insecure. Somebody else said calm. Somebody said good. So it's all over the board, right? Some people are just like, oh, if selling is good. And other people are like, oh, crap. Somebody else says neutral. That's kind of where you want it. Like neutral's fine. Neutral's a good space to be. The goal is to reframe the selling conversation. The goal is to think differently about selling so it's really serving, right? And I want to get you there. And so welcome. I'm glad y'all are here. So it's so cool to have you. Okay, so let me go back to the screen share. All righty. So what I say is the key is to reframe it. So if you have any negative bias, and that could be, I feel sinking or insecure or a little, if you don't love it, if you don't look at it like, thank God I've got a call today that I get to maybe enroll somebody. I want you to be that about it. And if you're not there, we got some work, right? And again, no judgment, no shame, just data. Okay, so let's talk about what can interfere with the selling process. Number one, you have the wrong people. The wrong people could be, when you're very beginning, you start out and you just basically say, do you have a pulse? Good, I'll take you. Or conversely, you have a credit card? Perfect, you'll do, right? I think we start out really, really, really broad. And then eventually your work should clarify itself and say, these are the people for whom I am the best to work with. And so if you're trying to sell the wrong people, it's just going to be a mismatch. Or this is the biggest one, and this is me. I will preach and preach and preach and preach about owning your value. If you don't understand your value, and we're going to talk a whole lot about this, you have a hard time selling. If you don't have a selling structure, now I'll talk about this too in detail, because I'm not a fan of formulas. You hear me rail on formulas all the time, because we're not designed to be one size fits all. So what might work with Sylvia would absolutely repel Judy. And if I tried that stuff with Joanne, she would run screaming, yet Mita would love it, right? I mean, so you can't just go, here's a formula. Now, the way I was taught, and I'll tell a bit more in my intro, I was trained by some of the finest sales trainers. I'm so blessed. I had amazing sales training, but it literally was like a 12-page document of, if they say A, go to A.2, but if they say B, then go over here. And it was literally a script. And I realized, like, I'm a smart person. I can read. Like, I know how, shit, they're not buying? What? And it wasn't that the script was off, it was that I was off, right? So what I've discovered along the way is there is a structure, there is a flow, there is a way of being to this whole process. So it's kind of like, once you know the rules and you get a foundation, then you can go out of bounds, if you will. But you got to know the structure. Okay, another one, and this is a huge one: mindset, energy, or money blocks. Oh, good hell, I'm the queen of all of these. That's why I get to teach it, because I have overcome it and learned it, you hope, right? So if you have mindset, energy, or money blocks, it is going to show up in your sales. The other one is backing off at the offer. And what that means is, like, when I first started as a new baby coach, we would do all those discovery sessions. And so what I would do is I'd be coaching my ass off. I was really like, yeah. And then I would be like, do you want to buy? Can you want more? And they would be like, no. I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry, goodbye. As opposed to now, what I know and I teach is you lean in. You don't stop coaching during the enrollment conversation. That's actually where you show up even bigger, because that's where the stuff is up, right? So if you back off at the offer, right? Okay, so what's yours? And then welcome some new folks. I love this. So what's yours? Where do you break down in the selling part of it? I would love to hear that. And you're free, open your line if you want to talk. Just introduce yourself. And where are you breaking down? Or are you just brilliant at it? Nobody's struggling. Okay, I don't have a structure. Yes, structure. Okay, yeah, structure. Well, then I got to talk about structure. Go with the flow. And there's space to flow in the structure. So that's a good one. When they say can't afford it, yep. That absolutely. It's easy to back off there too. And there are times when you're like, but they really can't afford it. They're not just being resistant. I market, let me see Shelly. Hi Shelly, it's so good to see you. God, I'm just so delighted that you're here. I market for my clients and forget to market for myself. Well, yes, that could be that own your value thing, love. Who does that? Like, we've all done that, right? Put other people before us. Okay, perfect. We're gonna keep going. That gives me somewhere to talk about. All right, let's keep going. And again, if you have questions, just jump in anytime, let me know. All right, y'all, most of you know my story. Many of you are regular community members. Some of you are new. So let me just, I was a psychotherapist, went to become a business coach, and it was like psychotherapist, life coach, business coach. And it was like, I like literally in one day I became a business coach. I had no training. I never read a business book, never worked in a business company. I mean, I just was like the least likely human anybody would say, oh, she should be a great business coach. Not ever. So what ended up happening is, thankfully, I worked in a really good coaching company. I got great mentoring. But what happened is that I could not sell. I mean, again, I told you, I had a $1 billion script. Like, I was trained by the finest in the industry. We had hours of sales training, hours and hours. And I'm like, not selling. The reality is because I could know my value. So my whole formula is literally everything I did wrong. My whole formula was, well, crap, that cost. And when I say my $400,000 learning curve, if you do how much is a client, what's the lifetime value of a client, I figured in the time that it took me to get my shit together, I probably lost $500,000. And more so, I couldn't help the people that I could have helped. It's not always about the money, it's about the opportunity. So I say, my pain is your gain, right? My pain is your gain, because I figured it out. I literally had to, like, okay, how do I own this? What does it mean to own your value? What does it mean to make an offer? What does it mean to talk about your services? I couldn't do any of that. So that for me has been actually a huge, huge, huge blessing. Okay, let me tell you what also drives me nuts. I'm sort of a freak. Okay, I'll just go that in 1 second. This drives me nuts. You know, I speak a lot about the industry, and there's some beautiful things that happen in industry. There are souls that are just, like, most of my best friends have come from this industry. I am blessed to be in this transformational industry. And there are horrible predatory trends in the industry as well. And so I always speak of that, and I always will say, we don't do that. Not in Mama T land. We do not do that. There's so much bullshit out there that literally harms people. And so, for example, one of my stories is I just filed bankruptcy, and actually a colleague reached out and said, oh, I'd like to see, I could probably help you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't looking for a coach, but okay. We had a conversation. I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to work with you. But it was probably would have been about $15,000. And this was 2009, right during the recession when I was going bankrupt. And I said, I want to work with you, but I have no savings, I have no credit card. And it's really important to me to honor and be a big girl with money. And so I want to save the money, and I will be there in 6 months. And she said, you don't want it badly enough. You're letting fear make your decisions for you. And I'm like, you know what? Don't fucking manipulate me. Don't use fear. Don't use predatory marketing. That's bullshit. Now, she could have said, I'm taking a stand for her. No, you were not listening to me. You were not honoring me. You were shaming me. And so there is a place, like Joanne, when you said about, you know, people can't afford it. Sometimes they just can't. Sometimes they can't. I'm like, if it's between paying for food or paying for coaching, choose food, right? And so there is a lot of manipulative practices in our industry. Fast action, give me your credit card tonight, and you know, that kind of. So if there's any part of you that recoils because of that, you're right to recoil. We should all be recoiling. So are you good? I just want to open the lines and go, can I get like an amen? Can we agree that none of us will ever be predatory assholes in the industry?
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I mean, I hope people's feet to the fire. Many of you are my clients. You've been sold to me from me. I have sold you, but I've never made you wrong, right? I might challenge, but it's really important to keep that commitment that we don't do that. Okay. So let's just go with this comment. So Sylvia says, also not naming my value. I think I can own it, but can't define my own secret sauce. That's a different situation. That's a messaging thing. That's absolutely critical. If you can't own it, you won't be able to name it, right? So you just need some refinement. It's a little work on that. Okay, longer term commitment. I have lots of coaches do that same thing to me. Tess, I came from that industry and I quit. Thank you for quitting. So it says, I was shamed by somebody who said, I'm not surprised that you're saying no. The universe brought us together. Oh, good hell. Thank you, Teresa. I thought it would be okay. It sounds like a Zen master. I'm not sure what you mean by that, darling, but feel free to elaborate on that. Okay, let us roll. So I just need to always put that in the beginning, because I know for me, a lot of what used to drive me is I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be perceived as that. And so let's just go, we're not that, so we can be all of us, right? We can be our big, powerful selves. Okay, here we go. Let's roll. Breakdown number 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about where things break down, and then I'm going to give coaching. I'm going to give the training in the context of that. Okay. You charge for the work instead of the magic. This is where it gets transactional versus transformational. Okay, so this is the own your value piece. This is where money is made or lost. And so here's some signs. You might not charge enough. You're playing small. If the slides got a little goofed up. You feel guilty charging more money. You don't see the results. and you have a hard time packaging it. See, when you're thinking, there's a difference between transaction versus transformation, right? Transaction is, can I really charge $1,000 a month? Can I really charge $300 an hour? Can I charge $5,000 for 6 months? Like, it's literally this for this. I sell this and you give me this. That's transactional. And whenever you go there, notice it goes like this. What happens is when you think transactionally, that's where our gremlins go, really? You think you could charge that? You just started. You don't have enough clients. You don't have a certification. Because it's like a this for this, and then that's where the gremlins can eat you. The trick is to go transformation. What is the transformation that you provide? Thank you for clarifying, Annie. I appreciate that. Now I understand it. Okay. So Judy says, I'm in the packaging stage. I'm in the process of learning better ways to communicate what I do and transformation. Absolutely. And that is part of it. When you don't know what you offer, and I'm going to give some tips on that because, yeah, in a couple more slides, you're gonna really like it. I'll go, this is the Judy slide. Okay, so here's the fix, right? Y'all understand, right? So and again, queen of not owning value came from me, right? Still have it to some degree. So the fix, think like Picasso. Y'all know this story. I want to tell the story of Picasso because this is such a cool story. So I'm just going to chew it all up. I'm not going to get the currency right. But so Picasso was sitting in a sidewalk cafe in Paris, and a woman walks up and says, "Oh my God, Picasso, it's you. Could you?" She hands him a napkin. She goes, "Could you sketch me?" And you know Picasso, he takes his pen and he basically goes like that. And she takes it and he goes, "That'll be $10,000." And she said, "But that just took you 1 minute." And he goes, "No, madame, that took me my whole life." Did y'all get chills? That's the thing. So unfortunately, our brains are constructed to go on transaction. They're constructed to go on the tangible. You've only done this X amount of time. You don't have this. You're not of that, right? As opposed to your whole freaking life has set you up for this. Every experience, every heartache, every victory, every self-growth class you did, everything set you up for that. But we don't factor it in. And just think about that. If you would, I should be a freaking Bill Gates bazillionaire with all my life experience and heartache and shit, right? Like, we don't factor in what we've overcome. We don't factor in the wisdom we have. We just look at little concrete things and go, oh well. So you want to focus on that stuff. Does that make sense? Can I get like a woo woo? Thank you for the woots. I like the woots, girls. And you can open your lines and say it too. Focus on the freaking transformation. When you focus on transaction, it's like, God, can I really charge like $5,000 for 2 months? What? But what if that $5,000, like, I'll tell you, the way I was able to start raising my rates and get to a reasonable place now is I would look at the lifetime value. I would look at if somebody came and paid me $5,000, they were more than like, they absolutely could make another $5,000. But then what have I taught them? How have I shifted them? So in the course of, let's say, 10 years, that could be $500,000. And that's just the money piece. You also, there's the tangible transformation and then the intangible transformation. Joanne, you're a perfect example. You work with people on their fitness and their bodies and their mind. You know, it's not just, oh, good, she's got a skinny waist. No, now she's more confident. Now she can create a better relationship. She can be a more powerful woman for her children. She can get the job. You see what I mean? You don't just go A equals B. I got them more money, or I got them thinner, or I got them to stop fighting with their stepkids. Okay, and then what, and then what, and then what? Do you understand that? That's how you own your value. So remember, transaction is this, transformation is that. Think of the lifetime shift. And you're only charging $5,000. I've literally had people say, "You saved my life. You saved my marriage." I've saved marriages by doing quote business coaching. What is the value of that? Like, if I can work with you and you can get more confident and speak your truth and not take shit anymore and just be the solid what's the value? It's like literally priceless, right? So when somebody says you charge that, you just want to go, because you understand. So this is the work. So seriously, if you like, you can hang up now. Just, please don't. But you literally can hang up now and go, God, if I get nothing else but that, we're good. Okay, so I want to hear from anybody. Thoughts, feelings, ideas. What about that? What do you got? Is this so like, holy crap, it's blowing my mind? Or it's like, I know this and here's how I can tweak it. Yes, yay. You guys can talk too. You don't just type, unless you want to type. But anyone want to share about this? Any place that you can own it more? Judy, you're coming. I hear you. I hear you.
Actually, it's more of a confirmation because this is something I've been working on and I've heard this before. So like, to me, it's like it is like the big, I want to say the elephant in the room for me, just as that confirmation of exactly like this is like the icing for me right now.
Perfect.
So that's
good. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Judy. I think it's definitely confirmation. It's something I've been working on over, I would say, the past year. And interesting enough, in what we're in right now, I think this is really helping all of us. I know for myself to really bring it up because I think we're going to have an opportunity to transform into a different way of selling out. Well, not selling ourselves, but presenting ourselves as we come to the light of this. Where we're all going to step into a very big transformation on how we do what we do.
Nice.
And at least I know I am.
Nice. Well, you're deciding, so you are, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just, can I say one more thing with regard to that? Because she's talking about how we do what we do. And one of the things I heard you say, Therese, is that it's not so much how we get them to like stop arguing per se. Because I've actually realized that I've been focusing too much on on the mechanics of what I do with like the conflict management and that kind of stuff. And that's what I've been sharing as my message, is that I give conflict management and I'm using those challenges to bring people together. That is not the transformation. The transformation that I'm realizing is the love at the other end of it, because they have deeper intimacy, they have real love. And I kind of had said this because I started talking about the journey to real love, and that's the title of my book when I eventually get back to working on it. But now I'm realizing that should be my main message. So that's the icing is like, that's
perfect.
Go ahead.
I'm going to show you how to talk about that when we talk about making an offer. Okay. Awesome. Conflict resolution is the how. It's the process. And sometimes people get all like, you know, like Sylvia, well, we could do Akashic records, or I've got other healing modalities. And people, like, if somebody is searching, I want to have an Akashic records reading, they know what it is. But for some people, they don't give a shit. They don't care how it comes. They just want the thing at the end, right? What's in like the little box of chocolates. They don't care who packaged it, where it came from, how much it weighs. So sometimes we get goofy, and it's a dance, right? It's a dance because some people have keywords they need to have. If you're being searched for Akashic records reading, if you're being searched for conflict resolution, but conflict resolution is the so that. I teach you conflict resolution so that you get, right? So, okay, so Andy says, so good to hear this. It will transform your entire life, not just what we focus on. Love the book title, absolutely. Yes. Okay, great connections here. Let's keep going. All righty. So breakdown number 2, you're selling your services instead of selling the dream. Okay, so let me tell you what that means. And I'll tell you, I'm trying to decide, yeah, let's see how much time I have. I will share I have a 5-step formula. So right now I chose, instead of going step 1, step 2, step 3, I chose to kind of go over the breakdowns to give you big ideas. I can go a little more granular at the end. Okay, selling services instead of dream. Say I'm on the phone with Annie and she's like, hi, how much does it cost to work with you? And I'm like, okay, well, that'll be $5,000 and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, okay, don't ever do that. There's a whole process that I can talk to you about. And I'll share with you how to sell the dream, because shockingly, nobody buys step parent coaching. Nobody buys health coaching. Nobody buys Akashic Records. Nobody buys business coaching. What? That's the wrapper. That's the container the transformation happens in. But they buy the transformation. They buy their dream, or they buy the relief from their pain. And if you don't understand that, I mean, have you ever had with somebody's like, okay, what do you do? Well, in the old days, it was horrible. Like, I think we're a little bit better now, but I've been in this like 15 years. In the old days, it was like, well, you could have 4 60-minute sessions a month, or 3 45-minute sessions a month, or 2 30-minute sessions a month. And I use Audio Acrobat, so we could record all your, and it's really good quality, and it's private, but it's just like, your head is blowing off going, what? I don't even know what that is. But nobody knew, right? And so we talk about the structure of it, or I call the form of it, instead of, let me back up. People need to make good buying decisions. They need those details, but they don't need them at the beginning. Nobody's buying 3 coaching sessions a month, or 3 training sessions, or a book. Nobody's buying that. They're buying, I gotta have this. Yes? Okay, let me tell you how. You see how that flows? Okay. You're either going into the sale too quickly, and I have a process so as to avoid that. You haven't structured the conversation right, and you think you know what they want. Don't ever do that. One of my tools is I basically say, just be a toddler, be a 2-year-old. Why? What do you mean? Why? So if I'm talking to Sylvia and she said, I want to grow my business, I don't say that's $5,000. I say, want to grow my business? I say, why? She goes, oh, to get more money. Why? I want to fund my retirement. Why? You see what I mean? Because what you think it means might not at all be what it means. Some people are very money motivated. I want to have a retirement. I want to travel. I want to put my kids through school. Some people are like, I don't give a shit about money. I want to contribute. I want to leave a legacy. So if you're like, okay, I'll get to that $10,000 a month, Sylvia, I'll do it. And she's like, and I'm not talking to her dream, we're missing. So if somebody says, I want this, don't go, I know what you mean. Me too. You never do that. Why? Okay, seems like I'm gonna have to do a little more demonstration. So, okay. The fix, remember, nobody wants to buy your services. Set up the call correctly. All right, let me, where do I go here? I'll just do it. I'll just start talking. Hold on, let's see. It's like this normally is like a 6-week program. And if you guys really like this, I could resurrect it. If you're willing to pay a little bit of money, I'm happy to take you through a training program, because it's really, really good. It's so freaking good, and I would love to do that. Okay, Tess is gone. Okay, catch the replay. Okay, alrighty. My step 1 in my formula is you own your value. And we already talked about how to do that. Step 2 is you dig for the dream. Step 3 is you push the pain. Step 4, you make an offer. And step 5, you take a stand for them. And I have a slide on for that later, but I want to do a little bit of, I want to pre-sell a little bit. So steps 1 and 5 are about how you're being. You're going to own your value, and you're going to take a stand for them. The first thing you do is you dig for their dream. Very first thing. But even before that, and again, in my program, I have worksheets to all this. I have before that, you have to demonstrate how powerful you are. You don't want to, has anybody made the mistake? You're at a networking thing, or you're at a party or something, and somebody's like, oh, you do that? How much do you charge? How much does it cost to work with you? Now, I see Dorothy here. Dorothy is an acupuncturist. Now, maybe it's different, because if you're selling one session, they're $75 a session, or whatever it is. Or if you are, but even that, sometimes things are, oh, we all understand that costs about that much. I still don't think it's a good idea to say the prices right away, because you don't know what they need actually. And so instead of getting hooked, like, oh, but somebody asked me, what I say is, let's book a conversation. Okay, I want to hear her thing. Shelly says, our packages begin at, perfect. So Shelly does social media. So there's a range. They begin here. The way I say it, because I don't know what you need. So what I say is, I can't begin to know what you need, and I've got a lot of things I could offer because I customize everything. So how about we just have a phone call and we can go over it? Buys me time. And what have I done? I've taken charge. I didn't like, oh, I'm standing in the grocery line going, yeah, hold on, just paper, please. Yeah, $75 an year. Like, I'm not doing that because I've done that before. Doesn't work. And from the minute they get on the call with you, so let's say you're gonna have a call, or you can meet in person, you need to establish, and I'm gonna say dominance, and that not in a like S&M kind of freaky way. I mean, I will be guiding you today.
Depends unless you are selling the S&M.
This is true. If you are a dominatrix, then it would be a perfect thing. Or if you're a little kink on the side, props. I'm all sex positive around here, so you go. So what I want you to do, instead of somebody shows up, I say this concept lovingly, you have to consider dumb consumer. What I mean by that is we're all in this industry. We all understand what it takes to get sold to. We've probably, most of us had coaches or mentors. We understand it. But a person that's never had this experience, they don't know what they're supposed to do. So if you just go, hi, they're like, my friend told me you're good. You see me, don't let them have a moment of floundering. So what you do in the beginning, I'm just saying, pretend I'm working with Shelly, and I say, hi, Shelly, I'm really glad you're here. So, and I usually do, how'd you find me? And why now? Because ask those questions. Oh, how'd you find it? And she'll say, oh, I've been on your list for a while, or my friend Sally told me about you. Awesome. Why'd you decide to do that now? And where are you from? What that is doing is a little bit of rapport. Because I don't know about you, but nobody likes to go, hi. Nobody likes it. I mean, some people do. Some Myers-Briggs, if you're a T, you're more likely to prefer that. But most of us like a little second of rapport. Just a tiny, like, oh, God, well, I'm in Arizona. It's super hot. Where are you from? Boom. That's all. Because then we're like, now here's how I say it. And I will give you all my tools here. Okay, so Shelly, here's what we're going to do. You and I it's my understanding that you're interested in seeing about working with me, right? Because I don't know, maybe she thinks I'm just going to give her some free shit. I don't know. So I need to clarify, right? It's my understanding. Is that right? So you inquired about coaching with me, right? Okay. So here's what's going to happen. Again, they might not know. What's going to happen is that you and I are going to have a conversation for about 30, 45 minutes probably. And I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. And they might be some kind of deep, because the more I can get my hands around you and your business, the better I can understand you and what to offer you at the end for support. Sound good? Mm-hmm. And what I will tell you is sometimes I might interrupt because I'm looking for certain things. And it's not that my mama didn't raise me the right way. I'm not trying to be rude. And what this does, wink, wink, guys, those people that tend to go down rabbit holes and you're like, I now have the permission to say, let me stop you here. Let's get back to that. Okay, because seriously, some people just talk and talk and talk, and unless you go, hold on, stop, let's focus over here. So if you ask them ahead of time, they're like, oh, okay. Again, you're training them how to be. And then here's my magic. This is like super magic, guys. So you can use this. Anything I give you, just take. I say, and here's my final thing before we start. I want to make sure that we both feel really comfortable. So can we just agree, if at any point either of us decide this is not a good fit, can we just agree to say that? Like, I don't want you to feel pressure, and I don't feel pressure. So are you cool if either of us agree that it's not a good fit? You can just tell me that at the end. Now, when I said that to you, what happened to your nervous system? How did that feel for you? Right. That was one of those magical things that happened one day. I heard myself say it and didn't plan on it. Just that's how a lot of stuff happens. It falls out of my mouth and I'm like, oh, that was good, right? And then I catch the response. And what happens then, because like we know we're being sold, we're like, oh my God, what's it going to cost? What's it going to cost? I don't want to upset her. She's so nice. Oh my God, she's nice. And then what she can think of it, as opposed to, you know what? We're cool. We're cool. So I immediately, do you see how when I consider selling, I consider it what I call container. Do you see how this container is? You come in, and when I say be dominant, that's not dominant, it's take charge. I've told how long we're going to talk. I've told the process. I've told that I'm going to ask questions. I might interrupt, and you get to say no at the end, and we're still cool. So now a person comes in, okay, perfect. Make sense? Okay, let me just see some comments here. I love the comments. Okay. I already tell them that it depends on what they need. I start asking questions, right? I concentrate on solving a problem in the call. Yep, that's good. And I'll talk about more of the flow in a minute. Yeah, the interruption, you owe it to them and you to interrupt them. Because some people, like literally they don't know and they're anxious and they're like, oh, and then, like, and then my grandma, she had the same problem. And I think her parents went through a depression and you're like, ah! And in the old days when I was way more codependent, I would have a very hard time saying, I'm going to have to stop you here. But if you set it up in service of the goal of understanding them better, who's going to fight you on that? Like nobody's going to fight you, right? Somebody says in the past, I would actually coach and then people didn't sign up. Yes. Oh, me too. Okay, this is a dance. Sylvia, thank you so much for that. This is a dance. How much do you give? Now, some people, the sleazy side of people say you basically manipulate them. You never give enough. You just ask questions. You just get them into pain. And then you go, oh, the only way you're going to solve your pain is me. And I dance with that. Sometimes I go into a little coaching, but here's what I do. I seed. I mean, sometimes if it feels genuine, I'll say, you know what? Can I work with you a little bit here? If it's genuine. The old days, I thought I had to solve the whole thing. So what you want them to do truthfully is you want them to be in still some discomfort. Because what I know is I could get any of you on the phone and have a session and you feel so freaking good. But if you have longer term issues, it's like if I could go to the gym today, if I could go to the gym today, I could have the most killer workout. I'm like, but that's not getting the biceps I want. Like that is, okay, you feel good, but without the sustained support, it's a feel good. And so you don't want to make a mistake of giving so much that they go, oh, oof, I feel better. You can give a little smidge if it's a good credibility thing, or if it's from your heart, like, you know what, or here's what I would do. Generally, I'll say, you know what, if I was working with you here, this is a point where I would go in, I would say, I would use my pendulum, and what I would do is I would clear this. That's how I would do it right now with you. We're working together. You can always seed, this is what would happen. Make sense? Okay, let me go back to the slides. Okay, hold on. Yes, that's a good one. I know. It's hard. It's a hard dance because you're like, I can fix it. Okay, so here's what you do. So I'm just gonna role play with somebody, or just pretend like I'm talking to Shelly. So Shelly, I'm so glad you're here. How's Phil? You guys are doing so good. I'm so sorry about your mother. I really am sorry about your mother, Shelly. You doing okay with that? Okay. So tell me, coming to me to grow your business, what exactly is it that you want? Now, here's the thing. The reason why it really matters to me anyway, having lived with a lot of trauma in my life, when you have had trauma or struggle, you stop dreaming. You just get like, this is all I can do. This is all I got. There's nothing else. Right? And so Shelly might come and I'm just making shit up. Unfortunately, not about Shelly's mom, but I'm just making stuff up. So, okay, so Shelly says, I really want to grow my business. I would like to bring in $8,000 a month. Now, I'm not going to go, okay, that's 10,000 bucks. I'll say, why is it important? And why do you want that? 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 And I'll give you an example here, a real world story. And I've changed his name. So I'm going to call him Jim. So Jim came to me and he had a really hard time in the recession and he was really struggling. And his wife did the books for his business. And so she was really ravaged with the financial part. They almost lost their home. It's really a horrible struggle for him. And so what ended up happening is Jim, whatever his fake name, Jim comes to me and says, I really need to grow my business. And I said, okay, I want to bring $10,000 a month. I said, okay, what would that mean to you? Why do you want it? And he looks and he's like, I've had a really hard time and it's really affected my wife and my family. And I said, okay, what would that money allow you to do? And he said, I could travel. I could take my wife somewhere. We haven't been anywhere, and I would love to take her somewhere. And I said, okay, where do you want to take her? And he says, on a cruise. I said, okay. So I want you to imagine, Jim, that you're on a cruise, and your wife is sitting next to you. You're looking out over the glorious, I think it was Alaska he was going to, because I literally defined it that clearly. I said, imagine your wife is looking at you, and in that moment, you're her hero. I started crying. I still almost cry every time I say that story, and that was 10 years ago. That's what he wanted money for, right? Yes, he wanted the money, but when I drilled it down there, he bought, right? So that's what you want to look at is, what is their dream? And then you're going to reflect it back, because a lot of times when you ask questions, people just start talking and they're like, what did I say? Because what I know for me, and again, a lot of people, is we have not been given ourselves permission to dream. And when I consider selling conversations, I hold these as sacred. Even if somebody doesn't sign up, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to gift you with something. Something magical is going to happen. And if I can just activate a dream in you, if I can just go, wow, that lives in you, and there's a way. Like that, oof, you can feel the sacredness of this right now, right? So they're gonna tell you. So you set the call up, you get the dream out, and then you give it back to them, and you embellish it. And you might say, "Oh my God, that is so freaking cool! Oh, like imagine this." Now they should be salivating. They should be freaking, oh, I could have it. Holy crap! Now some people could say, "That's $10,000. You ready to buy?" But I don't think you should do it then just yet. Okay, so let me just read what Judy says. Typically, the problems I'm solving can't be solved in one session. Right. So there's no real way to solve all their problems in one session. I merely give them 1 or 2 action steps, and I tell them the challenges they're likely to face. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be realistic. You must be realistic, because they don't know. They don't have any idea. And so you need to set the tone of how the work is going to go. You need to set up what's going to happen if they don't do the work. That's part of my making the offer piece. But the more upfront, so that's not manipulation and fear. That's just, I've worked in this a long time. So we have a little success here, but shit's going to blow apart here. More gets revealed later. So generally I recommend 6 months, or, you give justifications for why. Okay, great. All right, so let's keep going here. You guys doing good? You happy with this? Okay, so here's the next one. So remember, the step 2 in the formula is digging their dream. Step 3 is pushing their pain. And you don't do that to be gratuitous. You don't just go, really, lost that much money? Oof. You never shame them. You basically help shine a light. And so what this slide says is, you're dishonoring your client's reality by not diving deep. Now, I don't know about you. Well, I'll tell you about me. When I was a brand new business coach at that coaching company, they had to fill out paperwork, and they had to write a little section of what was last year's income. And I was so screwed up with my own money issues, I would erase it because I would feel too guilty. I'm a business coach. I'd feel too guilty asking them to talk about their money. And we wondered why I couldn't sell. Anywho, and so when I get to this point, so I'll say, so I'm talking about Jim. He wants to go to Alaska. I'll say, that is so cool. What's in the way? That's a nice segue. Why hasn't that happened? How do you make sense of not getting that? So there's segue questions. So now you went from, here's what you want, and why is it not in your life right now? And as they start talking, the way I deepen it is I say, there's no shame or blame here. There's no judgment. But when you have awareness, you have choice. So is it okay if we ask, can I go deeper? So the problems here is, I know a lot of people they're not trained therapists, or there might be, God, can I ask about that? Like, ooh, yes, you can ask about that. Or you haven't established the ROI, right? So, and I can show you a little bit about how to do that. Because everything can be quantifiable. Everything has a cost. And I'll tell you this. So I was working so many years ago. And this is one of those questions that, like, you know, those questions that fall in and go, oh, that's good. And then it works, right? So there's a woman, I don't even remember her industry. And I said, what do you think this has cost you? Like, not being able to get this done. What do you think this cost you? In the background, I'm hearing. Strangely, she had been a bookkeeper, so she had a 10 key on her desk. So she's like, that has cost me $1 million. And I'm like, because I didn't know that would work. So she in her mind could quantify, because I think she wasn't owning her value or whatever the thing was. It was an intangible thing, right? So the intangible thing, her mind already could quantify, oh my gosh, it cost me this much. And so there's the ROI, like the quantifiable is, how much has this cost you in income? So you could give me any single thing, anything you work with, and I can show you how to quantify it income-wise. There's tangible and intangible. And you might, you're not having a firing squad. And then what else? And then what else? It might feel that way in the beginning. Is somebody willing to do, there's my Jocelyn. Hi, Jocelyn, baby. Oh, it's been so long. I'm going to expand on this. Yeah, I want somebody to do a role play with me. So who's willing to, like, Sylvia? Okay, open your lines in.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to pretend we've had the first part of the conversation. You're going to pretend you've told me your dream, right?
Okay.
And so tell me. So Sylvia, I love that for you. I'm so excited that you're resuming your business and you're out in the world and you're using your gifts. So tell me, why do you think it's not where you want it to be?
Well, I think people don't know that I'm out there doing it.
Okay.
People, I'm not sure that I'm giving them the value, like demonstrating the value that I actually give in the work that I do. This is why the dream hasn't happened. Teresa, are we doing? Okay, thanks. Okay.
So this is the pain part. Why? What are all the reasons you have for not having that?
I think I'm really struggling with where to put it out in the marketplace and how to do that. Like, I just don't know.
Okay. Now, what I know is that Sylvia's newer at this, so some of those are basic new. We haven't experimented. You haven't. Okay. So they don't know the value. You don't know where to put it out. Okay. So then I'll just so I understand that. So a seeding thing would be, well, never mind that part. Sorry. You know when you get like 17 thoughts and they all fall in your mouth and you're like, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so Sylvia, so what do you think you're losing because people don't know and because you don't have clarity? Just ballpark, like, what are you losing in terms of clients or money?
For me, what I'm losing is the satisfaction that I've known I've had a positive impact.
Okay, did you notice what I just did? I went to the money and she jumped off the money. So if I'd say, but how much is it costing you? I would miss it. Do you understand that? Remember, that's a perfect demonstration. Okay, so the fact that you are missing out the satisfaction, talk more about that. So this is where I'm going to drill down a little bit. Talk more about that. What does that do for you?
Well, I just know that I've got so much to give.
Yeah.
And I can make such a difference for people.
Yeah.
And I know that people out there are really, really struggling right now.
You know.
And it almost makes me sick to my stomach to think about it.
Boom. Did you hear that? That's what will sell her right there. Not you'll get 5,000 a month. Did you understand that? So I'm trying to quantify the pain or quantify the problem. So one way is I'll go, Sylvia, imagine, and I would say, so you don't want to just go, okay, tell me more. You want to say, that's hard, isn't it? I can really feel that for you. Like, you want to be human, you want to be in rapport, you want to help deepen by being in rapport. Then I could say, and does this affect any other area of your life?
Probably affects my relationship with my husband because I'm not feeling fulfilled, so I probably look to him for more things than I really would want to.
Right. See how we're taking one thing And so Sylvia could, on one hand, you go, oh, you don't have enough clients. It's not the clients. It's you're not living your purpose. You're not being the woman that you know you can do and make the difference that you know, and it's bleeding over. Now I'll just do one last question. So I want you to imagine that 6 months go by and this hasn't changed. What's that going to be like for you?
I just feel like I'm folding in on myself. Like it just feels hopeless.
Hopeless. Okay. So what am I going to sell her? What am I selling her? Let's throw a couple words around. What am I selling? And it's not 6 months of coaching.
Compassion.
Compassion and
Relationship with her husband.
sense of purpose. Hope.
Hope is what you're selling.
Hope. I'm selling hope. That's what I'm selling her. Now, do you see how when I asked the questions, I didn't just go, oh, you don't have enough clients. Okay, you know what? Oh my God, I could totally help you with messaging. Oh, that would be super fun. So let's talk about your messaging. If I would have gone there, that's the solving the problem. I would have never gotten to the nugget of this poor woman is dying inside because she wants to contribute. She's so full of like, oh, that's the problem I'm solving. I'm not solving getting new clients in the door. I'm not solving the messaging problem. Now I'm going to corroborate that. I'm going to stack it. So when we get to the making the offer, I'm going to come back to the story. Thank you so much for doing this. That was really good. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I've done this professionally too. So some of it's mine and some of it's acting.
Perfect. No, it's perfect. But that's a beautiful example of, you see, when you ask them, and I didn't ask them in a way that was invasive, and I was very present, I was very connected, very loving, right? Okay. Got it. Any other questions about this one? We're good? Okay. Can you expand on this one? It's personal transformation. Do you still need me to do that, or did you get it? Okay. Perfect. Alrighty. Let's keep going. Alrighty. Okay. So that's how I established the RO, that's how I established the cost. And I'll show you in a minute how we can circle back. Okay. The fix. Understand you are piercing the veil of denial. Now, this was just a blip, but I could have gotten more. Now, obviously, for Sylvia, there is the mechanics of this is a newer, like a restart of her old business. Some of it's new. Some of it is just literally a beginner thing. But I don't know that all the way. Maybe there is the not owning your value. See what I mean? So I would continue to ask questions like, okay, well, you talked about not owning your value, but talk about that. Is that a theme in your life? I would also go there because I need her to understand. I need all the cards on the table, if you will. I need her to understand like, whoa, that's a problem, right? So to me, if I can illuminate some things, I've still done them a good service, right? If Sylvia walks away and says, wow, it's not because I don't have enough clients, it's that I'm not being of purpose. Okay, that's a different problem than I think I'm having, right? Okay, so here's just some segue questions. Why haven't you been able to achieve that? What does this cost you? And you should quantify, and I could at some point say, just for fun, Sylvia, what would you love? How many clients in the next 6 months would you love to have brought in? And she'll say, I want 10. And I'll say, okay. And that would be $2,000 a month. Okay, so you want to bring in $20,000, right? Just because if you can get it's costing you this to not have this, and you could earn that. Like Joanne does personal fitness, training, health stuff. You could say, what is it costing you? What are you spending on new clothes? What are you spending on impulse shopping? What are you spending on doctor's visits? What are you spending on supplements? What else are, see, I mean, what is this problem costing you tangibly and intangibly? What else can't you do because you haven't achieved this yet, right? So those are some questions that really help you sort of drill down. Okay, keep going. Breakdown number 4, you're selling your service and not the relationship connection. I love this one. So I'll go back to Sylvia. So wait, let me see what the fix is. Hold on. Let me just look at this next slide. Da-da-da. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so actually I'll take you to this. Sorry, hold on. Now I got Hello. I've lost my Zoom here again. Hold on one second. There we go. Get back to screen share. If you guys have any questions while I play with this, jump in, okay? Or comments or feedback. What are you getting out of this? Let me hold on one second. Okay. Oh, goodness. Alrighty. Hello. Okay, so you're selling your services. So normally what happens is when somebody calls, they say, what's your dream? What do you want to get? What's the problem? And then it's easy to go into, okay, that'll be 6 months, it'll be 5,000, or we're going to work for 30 days, or I'm going to, you need acupuncture, or you need training, or you need, and you just go transactional. And the reason that happens is because there's a shift here. So remember, step 1 is own your value. Step 2 is dig for the dream. Step 3 is push the pain. This one, obviously, you got to show up, but these 2 are just inquiry. Why? Tell me why that is. And you're writing down, I always say, take notes, write down the important things. Okay, what? Tell me more. You're like a reporter, right? Getting the information, gathering the data. And then it's like, oh, what am I going to offer? Oh God, holy crap. Okay. What do I offer? Shit. And you're getting anxious, right? And then you might think, oh no, she probably doesn't have money. Oh my God, I can't. God, what should I sell her? I feel guilty. God, we're in the recession. Nobody's buying. Oh. Okay, who's that about? If you're thinking transformationally, so one of the things I say is that there are people praying for you. And you probably heard me talk stories about that. There literally are people out there today. Judy, at parenting, hello, there's a lot of people saying prayers because their kids are driving them nuts, right? There's literally, so if you understand, so I just want you to go to your soul, go to the place where your mission resides, and understand that there's somebody out there and you are literally the answer to their prayer. Only you. Somebody is literally hitting the bed, hitting their knees, saying the silent prayer, please, 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 God, I can't keep doing this. You have to send me somebody. How dare you go, oh, but I'd be afraid to ask. I don't know. Maybe they can't. That is not yours. That is not yours. So what I have found is that when you think transactionally, it's always about you and your small self. When you think transformationally, you're tapped into the mission. You're tapped into like, you know what? If it's meant to be, they'll find a way. If I'm their person, let's figure out how to make it work. How dare you not do everything you can, number 1, to be the light, to shine, but also to make the offer to support them. That's the thing. You've got to do that, okay? Now, I will tell you just a couple things in terms of money stuff. I used to get all like, there's 2 schools of thought. Some people say you should just have everything transparent on your website. So if you know you're going to work with me, it starts at $5,000 or whatever. Shelly said, our packages start at. There's another school of thought that says people get tripped on the numbers. And one of my best clients, I think at the time I was charging $9,000 for whatever the package was. And this person she was a brand new life coach, had no clients or maybe one, a cousin or something was paying her $50. So technically no money from coaching. And I had a selling conversation with her. She was like just enamored, and she said, okay. And at the end of the conversation, the money part, I said, well, what are you willing to do to get money? She said, I'll just get a part-time job. Okay. So she started a part-time job tutoring. And this person had a PhD, and like she was crazy intelligent, very, very much in the academic world. And just to get her part-time job, she got a tutoring job to pay for her coaching. And she was all over the board with her coaching. She had like 3 different niches, like a multi-passionate person, all these niches. She got this tutoring job. And when I was teaching marketing and how to set up a web page, I said to her, Maggie, would you have ever even had a conversation with me if you would have seen $9,000 on the sales page? She said, not at all. And what you have to know is through the tutoring, it became her career. She now works with like high school students and college students, helping them with test anxiety. So she used her academic background, and she's a tutoring background, and she completely made that her whole career. Now, how dare I rob her of that opportunity by saying, oh, you shouldn't come because you're assuming. So if you want to list prices, whatever works for you. But I think it's also okay. So some people do this by, you have to apply for a free call. You have to apply for a discovery call. And, are you in a position to spend at least $5,000? Some people use that. I don't personally do that. I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm good. I would rather talk to you because maybe you'll just be in the Facebook community, or maybe you'll just read a book. I'm more open about that stuff, but it's a personal preference how you do it. One of the things that I just called myself. Oh yeah, one thing sometimes I'll say to people, because instead of waiting till the very end, sometimes just in the course of the conversation, I'll say, "Oh, so Sylvia, I know you're brand new. How had you? I know we haven't talked rates or anything, but how had you anticipated paying for your coaching?" Just throw it out there, super simple. And they might say, "Oh, it's not a problem. I've got a credit card I can use," or my husband is giving me X amount of money, so or some people will say, "I don't know." And I say, "Oh, okay, well, do you have a sense of what your budget is?" And if they come and say, "Well, I was hoping like $100 a month," then I might have to say, and I can't do anything for that. So it saves me all the way down the road. So it's up to you. Again, once you know the formula, remember, set the call up, dig the dream, push the pain, and then we're going to move into the how to make the offer. So any questions about this? Because I know we talked pricing, offer. I'm kind of cramming in a whole lot for you today. Any questions, comments, feedback? Okay, Judy's been seeing what's missing. Yee-hee, good. Anybody else want to share anything? It's so good to see you guys here. My gosh, that's really nice. You want to ask a question or share something? All right, I'll keep going. Okay, wait, hold on. This is an aha moment. Yeah, we want aha moments. That's what I want. That's what I live for. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, really, you want to watch it getting in their pockets. I don't know if y'all have heard this story. It's kind of a funny one. So a woman that I met years ago at a networking event or speaking event, she reached out and said, "I'd love a VIP day." And what I also like to do is I'm going to bring my husband. So I would do one day and then he would do one day. Now I knew her as kind of a struggling artist. So immediately I was like, okay, well, oh God, she has no money. I absolutely can't. My regular rates, that could never happen. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $1,000 off because I don't know why, because I was in her pockets. And she goes, oh, okay, well, no. Then I said, well, how are you gonna pay for it? She goes, oh, we have a huge trust fund. Don't even worry about it. Can't make assumptions, right? You don't always have to go to the discount, or you could go to a discount, but you don't go to a discount assuming their financial situation. That's the thing. Okay, here we go. The fix. All right, so here we go. Now I'm going to work with Sylvia for this little moment. And so instead of, we got to Sylvia, it was like hope. She was selling, she's feeling hopeless. She has a lot to give. And so I used to say, if I could find a way to solve hope for you, this kind of traditional sales training, would you like to hear about it? Sure. And then I would say, okay, well, I think we should work together for 6 months, and I would do feature, right? Kind of old school, old style. And so what I do now is, so I paint two paths. So I'll say, okay, Sylvia, so what you just told me is, if you don't get this right in 6 months, you're gonna, I think you used the word folding in on yourself. There will be a sense of hopelessness. You already talked about your relationship, like you're feeling a little bit more clingy or needy with your husband. That could be strained. Seems like the worst part is you're not doing the work, and I know you're very mission driven. So I want you to just imagine in 6 months, things don't change. Kind of shitty. Okay, so let me show you another path. So let's imagine it's 6 months out, so we're talking December, and you don't feel hopeless anymore. Imagine that you have me on your team as your partner. And whenever you start feeling scared or you don't remember why you're doing it or how much value you bring, you just reach out and I remind you. What would that be like?
That'd be amazing. That'd be really helpful.
Nice. What do you think that would change for you?
It would it would give me an opportunity in those moments when I'm feeling stuck or unsure to just sort of tune in deeper or feel more confident.
Nice. And then I want you to imagine that, you know how you talked about you don't exactly know how to talk about it. Imagine that you and I spend time, because this is one of my brilliances, is that we craft the message such that your people are like, oh my God, I get it. What would that be like?
That'd be amazing. That'd be really, really awesome.
Okay. And so if people actually got it, just make a guess. How many clients do you think you could possibly bring in 6 months?
Well, I think in 6 months, if I had it together and I knew the right spots, I could have a full practice in 6 months.
Beautiful.
Waiting list.
Okay, perfect. And so I want you to imagine it's December and you look at your calendar and you have a full practice. How does that feel in your body?
It just feels lighter and there's like a bright energy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. What I just did I talk about process or price? Did you hear anything about how we're going to do it? This is what I call sell in chunks. What I'm selling her is the container. It's the wrapper. When you work with me, you get this. I never said when you work with me, you get this. I said, imagine not being alone, feeling like you don't have value. You could just call me. I'm there for you. Like I'm selling trees on your back, basically. I sell this, and then we can sell the messaging, then we can sell the full practice. And then at the end, I said, how's it going to be? Then I'll say, awesome. So, and then I would get into, well, this is what I personally do. I would love to work with you. It would be super fun because I'll just, full transparency. I was the child that was never picked in sports in grade school because I was very sickly all the time. So I love it when people pick me. They're just like, oh, like that is like such a little inner child thing for me. I love when people choose me. I love to be loved. I love to be wanted. And so to have somebody that I look up to say, it would be a privilege and a delight to work with you. So that's just what I say. That's my vibe. So if you want to say, gosh, I could totally feel that vision for you. I would love to partner with you. Joanne, you say, you know what? I absolutely can believe in you. I will be your kick-ass coach. I will get you there. Do you want to hear about how we can work together? You see, I didn't do that until I got the chunks. So she now feels it. She's got the visceral experience of like, oh my God, it would be so nice not to be hopeless.
The other thing that I noticed that you did, Therese, was you went to the sense I was using.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
So I'm talking about my body. And so you went to how does that feel in your body?
Yes.
I think is
so
key as well, right?
This is basic NLP. If somebody's like, I see this, and you'd say, okay, so tell me your vision for that. What are you hearing? Like, I don't want to say, you say this, well, tell me what you're hearing in your head about it, but again, that's a higher level communication stuff. Okay, so Shelly, the multi-passionate entrepreneur part is my current struggle. I'd love to hear more about that if you want to type some in or just open the line and just ask Shelly instead of typing everything if you want to. Yep. Hello, Shelly. If you can talk to us.
Hello.
Hi, darling. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you. So I keep jumping into my social media business. Then I decided that I'd do an event. So we have, this is our 3rd year of doing social media summit in Coeur d'Alene. Of course, this year we have to postpone it.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be in June, and now it's going to be in September. So
okay.
That's a big project. We had 30 speakers last year over 3 days. So that's a lot of work. And then I'm also doing influencer marketing. So I work with the Oprah magazine and some of the grants to do that. So there's 3 things that all take up a lot of time, and I can't make myself stick to one.
So that's such a good question here. Why do you have to stick with one?
Well, I'm glad you said that. It's just because it's a lot of work to do all of them,
Yeah.
and takes away my focus from growing one or the other.
Right.
So do I just need to chunk it out?
So feel this, okay? And in the industry, they say you have to choose one niche, right? You hear that all the time. But there are those of us who are wired differently. Like that client Maggie that I talked to, I sold her basically because I said, oh, that's bullshit. You can't choose. Don't choose. Now I can look for ways to unify, right? I can with marketing find themes that sort of get them a little closer. But so I want you to, this is the question, Shelley. Imagine, so look at the 3 babies. Okay, there's the influencer, then there's the social media work, and then there's the events. So which one, if you look at energy, which one pops more? Which one is more vibrant? Which one is like?
I like them all.
Okay. And so imagine. No, it's good. Yeah.
I love being the influencer, but age specific in a way. There's not a lot of influencers in our age group. I love that if it could make more money. But I love all of the work.
Okay. So imagine this. Imagine 6 months go by and you can only do one. How does that feel in your body?
I can only do one. Are you asking me which one would I choose?
No, but you don't even have to answer. My throat started closing when I asked you to do that. So see, there we have to look at, sometimes people fan out because they don't really want to do their one thing. They're trying to avoid, or they're trying to just get distracted with busyness. But sometimes, I mean, to me, you do social media and then you do social media summit. That's one thing. Like that's it's not like, and then I sell life insurance on the side, and then I'm selling Mary Kay, and then I can take photos. So actually, they're all
interconnected.
They're all interconnected. You just have 3 different trains that basically are moving, and so that's the dance. And I'm all about permission, right? You're not doing it for a reason that is because you don't believe in it and you're trying to like, blah, 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 my true purpose is this, but I'm going to go sell cars so I don't have to shine. You're not doing that. You just have different forms. Thanks, Joanne. Glad you were here. And so the challenge is how to decide what to work on. That's always the challenge. That's the dance, right? So sometimes it's just, well, we have an event, I guess we'll do that. Or sometimes it's where you got to figure out, and it's all individualized. Maybe it's, okay, in order to get the most revenue, what needs priority? What I heard is, in the influencer thing, that's also about visibility, and it's also a mission. Hey, us over 40 women can be influencers too, yay. So I don't think you have to choose. You just got to decide with revenue and with your time limitations where to put it. Does that help?
Yeah, that does help. I like the production part.
Yay. Okay, proud of you. All right, so let me keep going. It's really nice to see you. I'm seeing some old homies this week. Okay, so I got the buy-in before I made the offer. Imagine this, how would it be? So Judy, gosh, so imagine not fighting. Imagine you guys feeling a family finally. What would it be like to finally feel like a connected family? You want to know how that could happen? Boom, then you make the offer. Okay? I already told you the formula. Own your value, connect with dreams and desires, push the pain, roll out your offer. That's where you obviously have to package it. Take a stand for them. I don't really have time to go over that on today's call. That's a whole lot of other. What I used to love about because I've taught this a lot of times. I've been teaching this for about 10 years. This isn't just selling skills. This is emotional mastery skills. Like in my program, I teach EFT. I teach ways to, right before you're going to make an offer, how to calm yourself down, how to be less anxious. Because it's easy to ask, what do you want? Tell me more. And what else do you want? And but when you're like, that'll be $8,000. That's like, ugh, right? So I want you to understand that if you can start to master this, like to not let go of somebody when they get scared, to not let go of somebody when they're like, I don't know, it costs a lot of money, I'm not sure that, to stay in and just ask more questions. Okay, I know that sounds scary. And what else about that? And what else about that? So what I want to get from you guys is any questions, number one, questions, any questions that I can answer for you now. Anything left undone? And give a couple objection handling. Let's just talk about that. I'll just do that really quickly just to wrap it up. So step 5 is to take a stand for them. And if somebody says, I can't afford it, they probably can't. Or maybe they can't see a way to afford it. And so instead of saying, okay, I'm sorry, like what I used, so my think about, like at the closing part of the conversation, let me back up. In the old days of teaching selling, it was very much stealth selling, guerrilla tactics. It was very like masculine, male. We're going to hunt them down. We're going to catch them. We're going to trick them. We're going to, oh, if you say that, right? Good hell, especially selling in, as well, human, but in feminine energy, you know, more person to person, soul based. Because selling to me really is serving, and I can't serve you until we make that decision that you're going to buy what I offer. I cannot give you the solution that could save whatever unless there's that little transaction that has to happen. You need to say, yes, I want to buy that. So if you shift from selling is, oh my God, selling, I want it like, it's just serving. And we all want to serve. I know you all want to freaking serve, right? So the only thing between me and my personal my client now is this stuff. So I want you to imagine, okay, so I'm just going to pretend my phone is a table. Okay. So in the old days it was, I'm here and they're over here. Turn over. So I'm here, they're over here, and I have to fight them, or I have to get them. So now I envision it. I say, and y'all can see I have like a little sunshine. It says radiate love. It's my cover. So I'm going to invite, so I'm going to invite them over here. So it's me and you, and we're over here, the same side of the table. And I say, see this thing right here? That's your objection. Come here. Let's just talk about that. Let's partner to figure out how we can solve it. It really is a psychological shift. I'm inviting you in. So if somebody says, I can't afford it, I'll say, okay. What had you anticipated? They might not know. And then I'll say, would you mind if we have some discussion? Like, are you open to maybe some brainstorming some ideas? When I did it with Maggie, she came up with, I'll get a job. I've had people come up and say, well, maybe I could borrow some money from so-and-so. Now, you never want to apply I personally believe it's totally fine to use credit cards. I got no problem. I think it is a brilliant use of credit, because you're using it to make money and invest in yourself. There are some people that are absolutely like, no debt, no debt, no debt. I might poke that a little bit, but I cannot put my values on them, right? So you could say, what else could you do? Do you have anything you could sell? Is there any family member you could borrow from? Are you willing to get a part-time job? So I just kind of partner with them. What other ideas are there? And at the end, they might say, and it's like, okay, PayPal offers loans. Yes, I have one. I use those regularly. Thank God for PayPal. At freaking 25% interest these days. Shit, but whatever. So that when they say, I have to think about it. Now, here's what is really imperative to me. I want to make sure that nobody is ever giving me blow off language. Oh, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. I never have that in calls. Not today. And so what I say is, so here's, in the old days of the objection, I used to be like, okay, I'm sorry, come back if you want. Now I do it, I lean in. Get that in your mind, lean in. Okay, you have to think about it. What specifically do you have to think about? I need to decide if I have time. Okay. I need to decide how I can come up with money. Okay. I need to decide And I will say, well, did I not clarify what the value is? Did I not? Because sometimes I leave shit out. Oh, you're right. I didn't tell you how long it was going to be. I didn't tell you it would take, it would probably take you 3 hours a month. Some things I'm not going to cover in the initial thing. But if somebody says I need to think about it, and I say, what do you need to think about? Sometimes they say, well, I need to run it by my husband, or I am committed. I have Murphy here chewing on my arm. I'm committed to not making big decisions impulsively. I always give myself 24 hours. Like, I never make anybody wrong. I'm like, that's awesome. I love that you do that. And here's what I say next. Okay, so in my dating life, and back in the old days when I would be, dating, I never liked that. Like, is he gonna call me? Should I call him? I hate that. And so I never have that in my business. And so what I need to do is I like to close the loops. And so what that means is, how long do you think you're gonna need to think about it? So today's Wednesday, and they'll say, oh, over the weekend. It's like, okay, here's what I want. On Monday, are you willing to send me an email and letting me yes or no? And if it's no, it's totally fine. And even if you know ahead of time it's no, it's totally fine. I just want to close the loop, because I don't want that weird energy of should I call, should I not call, but I don't like that. So if somebody says I need 3 weeks to think about it, goodbye. And don't be afraid to say, okay, get your calendar out. Okay, so you're gonna by Monday, you want to just have a 15-minute phone call, or would you like to email me? Close the loop. Okay, so I think that's a really important piece of it. But you notice I don't just go, you don't think about, okay, well, come back if you want, like I'm here for you. Or sometimes they say, I can't do it right now, and I'll say, would you like me to reach out to you in 3 months? Or is it no for now, or is it no forever? I usually, for me, the only objections I ever get are just money. Because if by the time somebody's gotten to me, they know they want to work with me, they might not be able to afford it. So it's just, you just ask the questions, and then honor. Okay, Sylvia's got to run. Okay, perfect. So I want to hear, thank you. I want to hear takeaways, and I'll answer, we got a couple more minutes. What has tripped me up is when they ask their husband, partner, because I coach couples mostly. Yes, so when you have somebody that says I have to ask my husband or partner, you say, I hear you. What do you think they're going to be interested in? What do you think their objection is going to be? And then you basically train them to be a little salesperson. And then you could also say, and you know what, I'm happy to jump on the call with both of you as well. That doesn't happen very often, but
I actually do that. I mean, it's helped a little bit, but not with everybody. But
yeah, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. If you say, what's their number one fear? Okay, bye, Shelly. So good to see you. What do you think the thing that they're going to be? And I've had people say, oh, well, he says I should be able to do it on my own. And I'll say, I love that he believes in you, but let's look at the last 6 months. You haven't, so I sometimes just give them a specific language. So if the husband's thing is money, I got to point that out. Thank you. All right, I want to hear takeaways. So here's Meet. Are you coming on to tell me takeaways, girl?
Can I give you my takeaway then?
Yes, Judy, yes, please.
Since I was already unmuted. My biggest takeaway is really selling the dream and the pain points. So like, I'm good at solving the problem in the free call, but I've never added that dream part. And so that's like my biggest takeaway. I really have to sell them on that. Awesome. And then just to drill a little further on the pain point. So thank you. That was my biggest takeaway.
Fabulous. Love it. Okay. Next. The takeaways. Mita. Hi, darling.
Yeah, super review. Reminds me of the big frame I have around also my own crazy heavy duty life experiences. Mm-hmm. And I'm so anxious to get geared up and rolling again. I'm on day 21 of taking care of my granddaughters.
Oh yeah.
So there's been a little bit of headspace to be so super good reminders, and you teach this so good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. That's right. This is our second time with this. Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? Annie, what takeaways for you?
So many. Let's see. I like that you just stay, you dance with them, you just keep you kept asking why. And oh, even the part about if they can't pay for it, you don't let them just get off with, oh, I'm gone, or
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And the indecision part, that's been frustrating for me, is not knowing if they're really interested for later or not at all. And
Right. You
so I
just
really
ask.
like the closing the loop part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Jocelyn, takeaways. Are you still with us? I don't know if you can answer. There you are. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, darling. I missed you.
Hang on. Let me see if I can get a picture up.
Okay.
Oh, it won't come. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh, oh, there you go.
There she is. Hi, love.
My takeaway is, Teresa, I haven't been on a call for so long.
No, I know.
Because I'm usually teaching yoga on a Tuesday, but this is giving me an opportunity to jump back in. So that was really my takeaway, strangely enough.
That's okay.
I only came in the last half an hour.
Okay.
But I'm going to listen to the rest of it
replay.
and
Beautiful.
get the replay.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Nice. And Tara, can you unmute yourself? I don't know if you can, or you might be working.
Hi.
Hi, darling. There she is.
Yeah, I'm at work, and but I have you on while I'm doing my stuff. This was great. I took away one was to close the loop, and it had me thinking about so many sales calls I was on where I wouldn't do that, and of course I'd never hear from them again. But also just the whole process of holding the space for them and not letting it become about me, but just really making sure that I am staying in the mindset that it really is about them, and it really is about them. But it's easy to get ahead of yourself and worried that, oh no, they're not going to do this, and then they're not going to get help because I'm going to screw up my part of this, and it's about you. When really it just needs to be a conversation with two people to see how you can help them.
Perfect. Beautiful.
So
I love that.
This was really good. Thank you.
That's so great. Awesome. And if you guys are watching later, message me, tell me your takeaways. I'm an extrovert. I'm not seeing a lot of people these days, so I need, this is my love language, is words of affirmation. So and it's good to know what sinks in, that it matters to me that you guys are getting good value. And I will say, if you want some more support, message me, teresaskelly.com/let's connect. I can help you with the messaging pieces of it. I can help you with the mindset pieces of it. I can, if you just need some support growing your business, getting your life in better shape, reach out. I would love to work with you. All right, guys, you have been a fabulous audience. It's been just lovely to be here with you. So, peace and blessings. Talk soon. Bye now.